Early on the morning of December 12th, Bridgeport police received a report about an unresponsive woman at a home, according to the police incident report. Upon arrival, an officer found Smith Fields lying on her back on the floor with dry blood in and around her right nostril, according to the police. The officer found a frantic man who identified himself as someone who had only known Smith Fields for 3 days and met her on a dating app, Bumble, according to police. According to the incident report, he had been doing chest compressions after being instructed by the emergency operator on the phone. He was trembling and visibly shaken, reads the report. The man's name is redacted in the report. He told police that he had arrived at Smithfield's residence the night before after she invited him over. They were drinking shots of tequila when she became ill and went to the bathroom to vomit, the man told police. After her return, they continued drinking tequila with mixers, played games, ate food, and started watching a movie, according to police. At some point during the night, Smithfield's brother stopped by her home to collect clothes from her, according to Crossland. When she came back, she went to the bathroom for approximately 15 minutes. The man who met Smithfields on Bumble reported to the police. When Smithfields fell asleep on the couch, the man carried her to the bed and fell asleep next to her, the report states. When he woke up very early that morning to use the restroom, he said Smithfields was snoring. But when he woke up a couple of hours later, he said he saw her lying on her right side with blood coming out of her nostril onto the bed, prompting him to call police, the report says. Medics who arrived on the scene pronounced her deceased and said she had been deceased for at least an hour or more. Officers collected several items as evidence, including more than $1,300 in cash, her passport, a credit card, and her cell phone, according to the police report. The police did not notify Smithfield's family of her death. Crossland says the family found out a day later after visiting her home and finding a note from the landlord on Smithfield's apartment door. The mom had been calling because Christmas dinner was supposed to be at Lauren's house that year, Crossland told CNN. They drove over there, found a note on the door from the landlord that said, "If anyone is looking for Lauren, call me." The police never tried to reach out to the family. They just took her body out of the home. Crossland described the detectives assigned to the case as dismissive and called them rude. He said they treated the family badly when they called and met with police seeking answers about Smithfield's death. During a meeting earlier this month, Crossland said police told them they did not find anything suspicious.
He says he carried her to her bedroom and laid her in her bed. He then laid down next to her and fell asleep. He woke up again at approximately 06:30 hours, and she was laying on her right side. Blood was coming out of her right nostril onto the bed, and she was not breathing.
The whole day goes by. No police reach out to the family at all.
Her close-knit family says they went to the apartment the next day after frantically calling and texting Lauren and were referred to a Detective Cronin.
They didn't even contact us. They didn't let us know anything. It's like crazy. And I'm asking what's going on. He said she met some guy on Bumble. And I'm asking about the guy. He was like, "Oh, he sounds like a really nice guy. He sounds like a really good guy."
And a detective allegedly told them there was no blunt force trauma. Now, when I first heard about this tragedy a month later, there was still no autopsy that had been done. So there was still no cause of death. As of today, I looked up this on CNN, and it says accidental overdose of 23-year-old Connecticut woman to be investigated as a crime, police say. So now they're ruling this death as an overdose. Officials said the Department Narcotics and Vice Division has opened an investigation and will be assisted by the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration. A day earlier, a medical examiner ruled Smithfield's death was accidental and caused by an acute intoxication due to the combined effects of fentanyl, promethazine, hydroxine, and alcohol. Now, Lauren's family disputed the state official's findings, saying she never used narcotics. And the chief medical examiner said on Tuesday that they found no foul play, but the family is just curious as to how the medical examiner concluded to no foul play that quickly. No questions asked, not knowing how the drugs were provided, not knowing how the drugs were ingested, not checking for fingerprints. Like, honestly, it just sounds like they're trying to protect this man. Why was his name removed from the incident report? Why are they trying to hide his identity? But of course, the internet found him. He is not an older man, as they kind of tried to portray it as like a sugar daddy, sugar baby situation gone bad. This man is 37 years old. Yes, he is relatively older than her, but he's relatively young. I also don't like that they used a bikini picture of her when they first put this story out. They used a bikini picture of her. Like, why? What do y'all, why? What? Once again, trying to play up the sugar baby narrative. They don't want you to have respect or sympathy for this woman. They want you to see her as a sex worker or someone who is not deserving of sympathy or time or, the police's resources. That's how they're trying to paint her. When I'm pretty sure Gabby Petito had bikini pictures posted online, but they didn't use those bikini photos when they were searching for Gabby Petito, when they were searching for her killer. Okay. His name is Matthew LaFountain. He's 37 years old, and he is the man who called the police when he allegedly found Lauren unresponsive, right? So he called the police. He tells them the situation. They tell him how to try to resuscitate. That doesn't work. They come and get the body. They tell him, you look and sound like a nice guy. We'll handle this from here. Thank you for the call. They remove him from the report. No arrests were made. No phone calls to the family. No autopsy. No care for this young woman whose body they just found. But y'all want us to believe that she died from an accidental overdose? Well, who, quote unquote, accidentally overdosed her? Because her family says she didn't do hard drugs. And her brother came over that same night. They were supposed to have Christmas dinner at her house. It sounds like a tight-knit family. It sounds like they know their sister, their daughter, their friend very well. And to just throw her, she overdosed. No. Now, I've never used any of these drugs. I don't know anything about these drugs, but from what I've read and what I've seen on TV, child, you don't do all of that at once. You don't do all of that at once. You don't do all of that at once. You don't do all of that at once.
Never showed up.
The family says the relationship with police devolved from there. No contact from December 13th until December 29th. No contact from December 13th until December 29th.
No contact from December 13th until December 29th.
But let's just say she did intend on harming herself. There was no investigation done to prove that. There were no camera checks. There were no fingerprint checks. And in fact, Mr. Matthew LaFountain, he actually lied. He said they did not have sexual intercourse. And the brother came on and said, well, they found a condom in the room. So he could have also said he wasn't doing drugs, but he was. They didn't check his system. They took his name off the report, y'all. This was wrong from the start, from the very beginning. And the family is going to sue the pants off of the city, and they want justice for their daughter. They want to know exactly what happened. Imagine losing a loved one, searching for your loved one to find a note on a door from the landlord saying, if you want to know where this person is, call me. What? A posted note on the door to find out that your loved one is deceased. No calls. No sympathy. In fact, The family said that the police department had attitudes. One of the detectives on the case got arrested. Like, what's going on? Connecticut never really sat right with me.
She never used drugs. She was the person who worked out every day in the gym. And if the police would have did the proper things, they could have found on this gentleman whether in fact he had any trace evidence of fentanyl on his clothing, on his hand. They could have did a DNA swab to see if it purports with the condom that was found in the bathroom in the garbage when he said he never had sex and he never took his clothes off.
This weekend, Smithfield's family and hundreds of others marched through Bridgeport on what would have been her 24th birthday.
If it wasn't for social media, honestly, you would never hear anything about these stories. So we have to keep protecting each other, keep spreading this information so that the family can finally find out the truth as to what happened to their baby girl. Now, the truth of the matter is, yes, they're going to sue. Yes, this man may get time behind bars, but none of that can bring back their daughter, Lauren's life. She will forever be gone. I will definitely keep you guys updated on Lauren's case. May her soul rest in heavenly peace, and I'm keeping the family and friends in my prayers.